All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, coming to you on this December 31st, 2019, the last day of 2019, folks. And we are on the verge of a new decade, but to many of us, it's just another day, and rightfully so, because it is just another day. This is Joe Imbriano, P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. On the web at joeimbriano777@gmail.com, theinformer.com, wifidangers.com, vaxdangers.com, celltowerdangers.com, 5gdangers.com, nasafraud.com, disney666.com, and a whole bunch of other sites that are full of all kinds of information to snap you out of your slumber. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do we have to look forward to next year? Well, I can tell you unmistakably that next year they're going to feed the American people a lot of rope. I believe that we're going into the same pattern that the Junior Bush administration put us in with the expansion of the money supply and the war drums being beaten. That's right. We're going into a very tumultuous decade, ladies and gentlemen. One that calls for an incredible amount of warfare being waged in the Middle East and an incredible amount of debt being amassed by the American people once again. Ladies and gentlemen, interest rates are set to fall substantially next year in the mortgage business. I've heard from some experts that I've talked to that 30-year fixed mortgages could be in the twos, right? Unheard of. But what does that do when the government manipulates interest rates and lowers them substantially? Well, it commoditizes housing. And we all know, whether you own or rent or trying to buy, what happens when a lot of funny money is chasing after a commodity. The price goes up, and in some cases puts the price out of reach for most people. And rents go drastically higher because it puts higher pressure on rental unit availability and thus increase the prices of that. The United States is going into a period in its history of another monetary expansion and another military expansion in the theater of the Middle East. The U2 Joshua Tree Tour has come to a close, and the U2's Bono and the whole Joshua Tree thing is basically a symbol of them getting ready to go live with World War III, folks. The Joshua Tree album was cut 33 years ago in 1987. I've gone into this on the Fullerton Informer at length. We're going into war next year, sometime later on, for certain in the Trump administration's second term. And Trump is being reinstalled, folks. He is going to get reelected by a landslide. You watch, it's all part of the PSYOP. Okay? This whole kabuki theater about this impeachment with the House not equaling the same votes as the Senate, not getting it through, but yet all this theatrics, all this horrible stage acting, and horrible makeup artists and horrible bag under the eye removers, right? All these people in this saga that you're following to balkanize to balkanize the electronic voting machine process of installing Donald Trump one more time, as they get everybody fighting with each other, Democrat versus Republican, left versus right, all this false paradigm that has the same foreign policy and the same monetary policy. Let me explain the monetary and foreign policies of 2020. More inflationary expansion of the money supply, lower interest rates, higher prices of commodities, food, gasoline, housing, clothing, And of course, the Selective Service is advertising on buses. I have to upload this video. I couldn't believe my eyes. There will be a draft, folks. There will be a draft once the ground war begins. They're going to need at least 500,000 to 1 million soldiers to go into Iran and Syria, and to go back into Iraq. They're going to go back into those 3 countries. Iran's never been invaded. Not a good thing. They want to get that country to have its people overthrow their own government, and what they're doing is they're creating an economic situation that's untenable over there, and eventually those people are going to go one way or the other. But look forward to 2020 as a year of deception, as a year of lies and green screens in the media, with the truth in the movies, and the sleeping gas in all of the churches. That's right. You need to make it your 2020 resolution to stop supporting all of these phony nonprofits and these phony Christian churches, even these, these whatever you want to call them, folks. All these religious institutions are selling the United States and its citizenry down the river. Make it your resolution to start spending your money, what little you have left after you've paid all your bills, things that are going to benefit people who need it, not people who don't need it and they're trying to con you, okay? Because after all, that's what these churches and religious institutions are. They're all con jobs. You know, if we had a legitimate media, if we had a legitimate press, and we had a legitimate pulpit in this country, you know, I wouldn't have to talk about this stuff. We wouldn't have to be looking over our shoulders all the time. We wouldn't have to be second-guessing everything. But we don't. It's all illegitimate. It's all deceptive. And it all is pushing an agenda. Eugenics and geopolitics are the name of the game, folks. That's what they're after. They're after pushing a geopolitical and a eugenics agenda in the media, in the education system, in all of the things that we consider pillars of our society have betrayed us. I was outside late for the past 2 nights. For those of you who may not realize this, I like to spend a lot of time outdoors late at night, read a book next to a candle, but it's been difficult because of the winds. Last night in Southern California, really creepy weather, and the night before, really creepy weather. They can literally, it's amazing. I'm out there, you know, 10, 11, 11:30 at night, and it's been cold. I have a little washing machine tub, an old baked enamel steel washing machine tub out of an old washing machine that I use as a fire pit, right? And you know, I sit out there with a candle and I read. And the sky, I look at the sky, I constantly look up at the sky at night, try to see the stars and the beauty of it all. And you know, there's these clouds moving through like a cold front, which is normal for this time of the year. Unstable air moves through, but on the very top of these clouds, 40,000 feet up, is a massive amount of aerosol particulates. And then out of nowhere comes like these 50 and 60 mile an hour Santa Ana wind gusts. And then, you know, 20 minutes later it stops. And, you know, like I told my buddy yesterday, I was like, hey, it should have rained last night. Instead, we got Santa Ana winds. He goes, it's funny you mentioned that because it was raining down in Huntington in the morning. Well, they break up these weather systems. 2020 is going to be a year of weather warfare, ladies and gentlemen. Major weather warfare is going to be waged over the United States to push the climate change mantra. They've given up on the global warming nonsense because we're entering into an ice age by the looks of things, right? But what we can look forward to in 2020 is a massive amount of continued weather modification. And that's all going to be used to push the mantra of, hey, you know, you've got to cut back on your gasoline. You got to cut back on your electricity. You can't have a car. You can't travel. You can't burn gasoline. You have to start taking public transportation. You know, all this nonsense that they're trying to push on us, right? Man, these people, the way they drive, they need their heads examined. But they're going to push all this stuff to get everybody into the position that they want them in so they can manage the herd. And I will tell you that 2020 is going to be the year of managing the herd, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That is what you're going to see more evidently, clearly so than ever before, is you're going to see the managing of the herd, folks, in ways that never seemed imaginable. You know, forced vaccinations, complete surveillance everywhere with all of these camera systems that are going in everywhere, face recognition cameras, they're going in all over these places. But one thing that 2020 is not going to be, folks, is the 5G is behind schedule, because people are fighting back. And by the grace of God, ladies and gentlemen, the 5G technology is not turning out the way they expected it to. And it's amazing that they've studied this stuff forever, and they know how weaponized it is and how effective it is at rendering the oxygen molecules unbindable to the hemoglobin. They still don't have the WIKIJOE for the homes. They still don't have the millimeter wave systems on the light poles. And they're starting to go away from those frequencies, amazingly enough, because they don't work. So, you know, like the day that the cathedral in France went up, there was a fire over at the mosque over in Israel. That didn't go off too well. And like the 5G, the plans for 5G are not going off too well either, folks. You see, God has a very interesting sense of humor, and he does intervene, and he does screw up the plans of people. He does get involved. He does throw curveballs. He does mess with technology. He does make things break. He does stick his hand down into our world, and do what he has to do to make sure things go the way he wants them to go. And there are those that think that they're in control of everything. They're not in control of everything, folks. They want to believe they are because they feel it's their destiny to rule over the human cattle that they treat like chattel, right? But that's not going to be the case. There are many, many things that are behind schedule. They're way off on the timelines. They've got to keep reinventing the Bible prophecy nonsense, and it ain't working. 2020 is going to be a year where you need to be on your game and you need to be on your guard, folks. All right? 5G is going to be a year where the vaccine exemptions are going to continue to evaporate, because we have allowed very evil, wicked people to rule over us because we watch the television and we listen to everything it says. 5G is one of those things that they had planned to already be live almost all over the country right now, and it's in a crawl right now. And what's turning out to be the case is they're going to continue to expand the use of the microwave signals and the expanded GSM frequencies. They're not putting up these millimeter wave systems to blanket whole areas yet, because they simply do not work the way they have tried to sell them to us. And the Achilles heel of 5G is what you bring into your home, because millimeter waves don't go through walls, they don't go through trees, they don't go through glass. I mean, you could get the UV blocking tint for your windows, and that just bounces a crap right back at the receiver. It is not going to work unless you let it work. It is not going to work. These beamforming devices don't work unless they have a clear line of sight with the transmitters. And they can bounce these signals all over these buildings and glass and everything else outside, but they can't get them inside unless you have a repeater, a relay, if you will, called a WIKIJOE router that you have to bring in your house. They're not on the shelves yet, folks. It's been in the works for a long time. Look up whygigdangers.com. Look up 60gig. I've got these sites. I explain what this stuff does. But they're behind schedule. 2020 is going to be a year that you're going to have to learn about Section 13 of the vaccine inserts and how to say no to getting injected. 2020 is going to be a year where Netflix brings more satanic debauchery, nightmare creating movies into your home than ever before. 2020 is the year that the media is going to come out of the closet and openly worship Satan. If you haven't figured out that's what they're doing already, you need your head examined. You know, I have to tell you, I really appreciate all of the subscribers on this channel, and I know how intelligent you are. That's why you're here listening to this information. But I will tell you, if there's one thing, one simple thing you can do to change your life in 2020, that is to accept the sinless shed blood of Jesus Christ as full payment for your sins, and to accept his finished work on that cross as all you need to get right with God. And once you do that, his Holy Spirit will come into your life and open your eyes, and you're going to wake up and you're going to see what is being done to us from all these angles on a daily basis. All these things that are part of your life that are actually things that are hurting you, that have been designed with the intent to harm you by the same people who hate Jesus Christ. These are facts, folks. You cannot be a born-again Christian and watch television. You cannot have the Spirit of God in your mind and in your heart and watch Netflix. You cannot be a Christian and have God's Spirit in you and watch the satanic mind control programming of Hollywood. You can't. They are mutually exclusive planes of existence. The plane of existence of being subjected to the mind control of Hollywood and the music industry and the movie industry and the video game industry are mutually exclusive to having the Spirit of God residing in you. It is an impossibility for a Christian to have eyes to see and still sit in front of a television. A satanic, electronic, psychotronic, black scrying mirror Ouija board called a smart television that's turning you into a stupefied idiot as they push all their lies and all of their agendas through those screens. Not limited to forced vaccination, snitching on your neighbors, taking all these killer pills, all this booze and crap food, and horrible medical advice, and all of these things that they push and pump through that television into your brain, right? 2020 is the year of 2020 vision, folks. You know what that means? Shutting off the blue light alien abduction glow in your living room that's turned everybody into a bunch of zombies. You don't need to be one of those zombies, folks. You don't need to be one of those people that walks around in a trance wondering when the next Hot Pocket bell is going to ring on the microwave timer. You don't need to be one of those people that are sucking on a straw connected to a high fructose corn syrup fountain. You don't need to be one of those people that are destroying yourselves for lack of knowledge, because the Holy Spirit will give you the knowledge. Being part of this channel gives you the knowledge and the wisdom that God has imparted on me to share with you, so you can get it for nothing as well. All of the wisdom from above is free, folks. 2020 is going to be the year that you need to decide whether you want to go into mortgage debt to put your children through an education that's really child abuse and worthless. You need to rethink the whole college paradigm. You know, it's funny. I remember when I was younger, I was in school, and you just do things because you do things, right? You're told to do things, and the things you do are the things that you thought you had to do because everybody around you did them, and you were told if you didn't do them, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble, right? You're gonna ruin your life, right? Well, I remember going down to Tijuana on a Tuesday night when I had a final the next day because we had a group of girls that wanted to go have a good time, right? So I'm at UCI and, I'm studying, working on my bachelor's degrees, and, Tuesday night comes and it's time to go. And I was like, I don't know, what year was this? 1985. I was 18, 19 years old. And so we went down to Tijuana. I didn't care because I was so caught up in the thrill of listening to the expose music bouncing off the walls in Calle de Revolucion, walking up and down the streets, and the taco stands and the hot dog stands and the music everywhere and all the people, having a good time dancing on the rooftops on a weeknight, right? And so I wasn't thinking, and 1 o'clock rolls around and it's time to drive 100 miles home for a test in the morning. I just not questioning or wondering what the future outcome would be of that action. I akin that to sending your kids off to college, not questioning what the outcome is going to be, delaying the inevitability. I knew that night when I was driving down the 5 freeway in my 1974 Datsun pickup that I had to run the heater on because the thing overheated all the time going up some grades on the 5. I remember I was not wanting to face the reality of what awaited me on Wednesday morning, and that was looking for a parking space and going to the lecture hall taking the calculus exam, right? That's a horrible thing to have to take, a calculus test, let me tell you. Well, I'll tell you this. You ram your kids through college, you're not thinking about what the outcome is really going to be, except for hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt and bleak employment prospects and a child that's going to go through trauma-based mind control, and they won't be the same when they come out. 2020 is a year of 2020 vision, folks, and you got to look real hard at what you're doing to your children. You got to look real hard about the infertility pad in the lap of your kindergartner. That's right, the iPad, right? Folks, you need to open your eyes. 2020 is the year that they had planned for the all-seeing eye of Lucifer to go in with all the 5G and the surveillance total information awareness network. They're behind schedule. Why? Because they are not omnipotent. They are not omniscient. They are not omnipresent. Although that is their intended goal as followers of Satan, to make Satan omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient with their technology. Well, guess what? They're behind schedule. And there are all kinds of kinks in their wiring, in their tubing, and it's not working, folks. And by the way, the end connection to Satan's entrance into your grand illusion lifestyle is what you bring into your house and what you plug in and what you watch and what you listen to, what you stick in your mouth and what you eat and what you drink, what you smoke, what you stick in a syringe and slam into your vein in your arm or your leg or whatever's left of your body. It's up to you. You want to give a place to the devil? You want to build him a bungalow, or you want to build him a back room? Or do you want to let him into the living room? Do you want to bring him into the bedroom? You want to give him a permanent position in the kitchen or in the medicine cabinet? How about in your library? How about in your video collection? How about in your music collection? How about in your wardrobe? You want to give place to the devil? Go right ahead. But I'll tell you what, everything you do, you better look at it as, wait a minute, who made this? Where was it made? Why was it made? What's it going to do if I use it, eat it, drink it, smoke it, toke it, whatever? You've got to have 2020 vision, folks. 2020 vision involves wisdom and discernment. You will not get wisdom or discernment from college. You will not get wisdom or discernment from a church. You will not get wisdom or discernment from these phony pickpocket pimping pastors in the pulpit. You won't get wisdom or discernment from a petrochemical pill-pushing allopathic pimp in a white coat called a medical doctor. You're going to get advice from these entities that are designed to keep the satanic show on the road, to keep you in the dark, so you'll be a fool's folly at the end of your fallen lifestyle, right? That's right, folks. That's exactly the plan. My goal for you in 2020 is to wake up and go to sleep. No, I'm kidding. Wake up and start looking at the roses, smelling the sky, learning how to deal with understanding your surroundings, and be a prudent man or woman as you foresee the evil and take plans to protect yourself. All right? It's coming. Things are coming. Things are coming that people don't want to admit. Things are coming that are going to be very, very scary. Things have always happened to us that have been very, very scary. When you think about the 104.3 degree fever your child had, and you tried to slam him full of Tylenol and rush him to the emergency room, right? When that was the worst thing you could have done, right? Well, listen, we've all got to wake up, folks. There are agendas to disarm us, to forcibly inject us, to irradiate us, to poison us, to fluoridate us, to brominate us, to satanize us, and to turn us all into weaponized idiots against each other. Right? That's exactly what they're doing, folks. You know, I really was sickened the other day by something I saw on I think it was a Netflix trailer. I don't know where I was or what this was or how. Oh, I know what it was. I had some friends over, and we were listening to some music, and we had it hooked up to my projector, and we were watching a video. I'm trying to think. It was a song by Cliff Richard and Olivia Newton-John, and it was called Suddenly. Really beautiful ballad. I mean, you want to talk about two, very talented, say what you want about them, but they did have a very nice voice together. It was a beautiful love song, and it was a really touching performance by those two. I think it's about 38 years old. But we're watching this song about a couple that falling in love and singing to each other in love. And as that song ended, this promo came up for Netflix, and I guess it was some movie about some virus that turns people into vampires and cannibals. And, you know, I was horrified by how I could go from watching a beautiful blonde woman, serenading a young, handsome, dark-haired man in a romantic video. And then as soon as that 3-minute song is over, it goes into this horrific scene of these people with alligator fangs, ripping each other's throats out, drinking blood. You know, folks, 2020 needs to be the year that you tell the media to go to hell. Back in the pit where they belong, with Satan's minions and all the slong-sucking satanic followers. That's right. The media sucks Satan's slong. That's what they do. And it is so over-the-top evil and vile and sick. They are satanic schlong suckers. And I am sick of it. And it's so freaking evil. And you know what? I am so sick and tired of these phony baloney pastors talking about how they went to the movies, how they watched this on TV or on Netflix. You know what? No real Christian watches that shit. All right? I said it. The media is so over-the-top evil. It's so disgusting. So disgusting, folks. You know what? Stop giving your money to these companies that are piping this crap into your house. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, and I was I think I was, let me see, this was 1980, was I 16? I was 16 going on 17, and I was in love with this beautiful young blonde tennis player who was the homecoming queen, right? And we went to the Sadie Hawkins dance, I remember, right? And this gal, she reminded me of Olivia Newton-John. She was really a beautiful young lady, right? And so I look back to what was going through my mind at the time, and how, I was just a guy that wanted to get the gal and feel love and feel loved, right? And so I'm watching this video there, and my wife and another couple and friends of mine, and this beautiful video that brings back memories of good, wholesome, honest times of love and emotion and appreciating the beauty of a woman. And on comes this ad for these human beings that turn into freaking alligator fang vampires, ripping the flesh out of each other's teeth, out of their necks. And it's this virus, supposedly, that makes people turn into this. What are they doing to us, folks? What are they doing to us? Unbelievable, right? How can people sit back and who are these people that are doing this to us? What in the world kind of satanic Luciferian death cult are they part of? Huh? I'll tell you, folks, the best thing I ever did was watch television for this will be the 23rd year. 23rd year, folks, that I haven't watched this television, and the people that run the networks are sick, evil people, okay? That they're doing this to us, to corrupt us, to pervert us, to factory farm fear, to factory farm perversion, to factory farm all the sins that are prohibited by Almighty God, so they can harvest that energy and serve it up on a silver platter to their God and their demonic realm of beings that feast on all the aforementioned sin. And God hates sin. He hates it! And the tools and devices of those who try to trick us into sin and an early death are no longer going to be accepted and worshipped as the norm. Not on my watch! Not on my watch, folks. We are not going to sit back and accept what they're doing to us anymore. We're going to start shutting it off. We're going to start telling everybody the truth. And for all you phony pickpocket pastors out there, you think my fire pit is hot when those ash 2x4s from my dad's old box factory, when those things are hitting enough to make that cast iron stainless steel this thing's a baked enamel cast iron washer bin out of a 1975 Kenmore. That thing was glowing red, folks. You think that thing's hot? Let me tell you what's you know where those pastors are going that are silent on this stuff? Let me tell you, folks, they're going to the lake of fire. The lake of fire. The first in line are the cowards, folks. We need to stand up in 2020 and say no to this crap. And I don't care if it's a big church or a small church. They're all in on it! Because they're silent and they're going along with telling you how they just watched the last movie, they just watched this program, or they just bought this or that. You know what? They're all in on it. You find a pastor that will tell you to stop watching television every Sunday, that's a real guy. Right? All right, folks. I'm going to cut this off. I may be back tonight for a New Year's Eve broadcast. In the meantime, this is Joe Imbriano, P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. Imbriano777 @gmail.com. On the web at thefullertoninformer.com and wifidangers.com, folks. I'm sick of it, and in 2020, I'm going to be really sick of it. And you need to be sick of it with me. You don't turn in your guns. You don't take the vaccinations. You shut off the blue light, satanic black scrying mirror, electronic, psychotronic Ouija boards called televisions. Shut them off! Smash your sunglasses. Filter your water. Grow your food. Wake up! I'm sick of it! 2020 is going to be a great year, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and take care. Coming back at you maybe tonight. God bless.